Hi, welcome back to our very next episode. I think it's episode 3.
Episode 3.
BeerFormers. For the last episode, we talked about Power Master Optimus Prime. And so in our first episode, we talked about Power Master Overlord, a Japanese toy. So this time we're going to go even farther back.
Wow.
Getting away from the whole Power Master
How far
thing.
back are we going, Dave?
We're going to go back to the original, the OG.
The OG?
Yeah, we're going to talk about Megatron.
Oh, I know who that is.
Megatron, the leader of the Decepticons.
Yes.
And his original toy is what we're going to be talking about here today. The original Megatron from 1984. The one I have here today is a reissue that they did back in the early 2000s. It's the exact same toy. They just, it's just not from 1984. I do have a 1984 version, but it's it's a little more fragile with its age.
The 1984 version you have, is it the one you had as a kid, or did you get it later?
It is the one I had as a kid.
Wow, so you hung on to it.
Yeah, it's got an interesting story too. I actually traded it away at one point.
Really?
Yeah, like everyone who's a collector has a story where like their mom or somebody like that either sold their collection away, whatever. Yeah. I went through a phase where I was gonna be into something else. I don't know if it was Star Wars or G.I. Joe or whatever.
Books.
But I traded it away to a friend. And then a few years later, about maybe 10, 15 years ago, I, made a connection with that friend again. And do you still happen to have any of that sort of stuff? And he did, so I got it back.
Did you pay this friend
I did,
for it?
I did, yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
So this toy is exactly the same in every way.
Story.
It's just, from the early 2000s. They just reissued it, essentially.
Okay.
And this was done in Japan. We'll talk about that in a second, too. But Megatron, famously, the first generation Megatron toy turns into a handgun.
Right.
And not only that, but it's an actual, real, existing handgun.
Which means I could carry it with me in Missouri when I drive to work.
Or other states that have, concealed carry laws.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Specifically, he transforms into a Walther P-38, a famous gun that was used by, unfortunately, the Nazis in World War II.
Yeah.
I have seen this gun.
Well, he's Megatron. He's bad. Yeah. So it's okay.
And when he transforms, he is only like a skosh smaller.
Really?
So if you were to see a Walther P-38 and transform Megatron side by side, and he's all chromed up and stuff like that, and most of them who were used by the German military wouldn't have been all chromed up. They would have been regular gunmetal. But other than that, unless you really stared at it for a while and really knew what you're talking about, saw the lines in there that helped him transform, yada yada. If you just did a glance, you would think he was an actual working handgun.
Oh, that's a little
which creates a lot of issues. So back in the going back a little bit in the late 70s, early 80s, there unfortunately was an incident where like a lot of toys were being made at the time that had shooting missiles and things like that.
Yeah, I remember those like Boba Fett and the missile that shot out of his back.
Yeah, and that one didn't actually come out though. They were about to put it out because what happened was unfortunately there was some people who got injured. I think even one person died. Yeah, because something went down their throat. They choked to death. So laws were changed to make those kinds of things illegal. And then shortly after that, there was, I think, a young boy who was killed carrying a toy gun around. Yeah. The police officer didn't know it was dark, whatever like that, and he was shot. So they changed the laws regarding toy guns, too. I was just at Walmart yesterday, and in the toy aisle, there's a Star Wars gun. It was supposed to be the Mandalorian's gun, to play with. Right. But it was in all sorts of weird, garish colors to make it indistinguishable from an actual gun. Yeah. So the basics of the law is that, for there to be a toy gun for kids to play with, it has to be made somehow distinguishable that it is a toy and not something that is real.
No, I get that.
So this is a toy that other than Japan doesn't have the same laws. So when they reissued this, they were able to reissue it as is, turning into a regular gun. Megatron, if you were to put him out today, he will not, unless they change the laws in America, he will never be a toy handgun again. The closest we got, I'm going to go ahead and push this over to you real quick.
Sure.
We're not ready to transform it yet.
Okay, so I can't get a head start.
Yeah, the closest we got, before I do that, we'll go back here. This reissue of Megatron came with his Inner John mace that he used in one of the episodes of the cartoon. That was a new piece that came out with this particular edition.
Okay, Inner John mace.
And Megatron has all these pieces that attach onto him that make him into like a super gun. So if you ever watched the original G1 cartoon, Megatron would transform and like go into the hand of somebody and like Starscream or Soundwave or somebody would shoot him.
Which makes you think just how gigantic those robots actually were, right? But how was it that he was their size, But then when he transformed down, he could fit in their hand.
There's been several attempts to explain that over years. Essentially, you know, it's that they have the ability to mass change somehow, like they shunt some of their mass to some other dimension or like that, you know, or their parts fold in
doesn't that
upon each
defy
other.
the laws of physics?
Absolutely, it does. But it's a fantasy world again, so we can do whatever the heck we want to do. So it's not headcanon. This is actual canon at this point.
Okay.
Now, so Megatron had all these pieces that, like, you know, a barrel extension / silencer, and a thing that would become a stock. So it almost turned him into what was like a rifle. So all those pieces came with him, and he also came with this famous, you know,
it's a sight.
It's a sight, but when it's on the Megatron toy, and I'll attach this real quick here, it becomes this famous fusion cannon. He always is walking around with this giant gun on his arm, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna give these parts to Noel too. And he had like a little small handgun that
Do I have to transform all the parts too?
We'll see. If you can just get him into a gun mode, that's going to be probably good enough for you. And the Japanese version came with a sword. Last up was talked about swords and Transformers.
Yeah, they like their swords.
Megatron came with a sword too.
Yeah.
All right. So as I was saying, they did reissue Megatron several times, or they had different editions of Megatron over several times over the years. And one of the more recent ones, there was a line of toys called Masterpiece. And this is one of the original Masterpiece Megatrons. He's much bigger, as you can see. He's got the big fusion cannon again. And the barrel of his gun, in order for this toy to be brought over from Japan, this was a Japanese exclusive again.
Okay.
In order for that toy to be brought over to the United States legally, they had to put this orange thing, which I'll show you pictures on the screen here in a minute, that went into the barrel to help identify it as a toy. Although this being a much larger version than the one you're holding here, when he transformed to a gun, he was a giant gun.
I just noticed it says P38 stamped on the side here.
Yep, and that's on the original version too.
Oh my gosh, it sure is.
So this version came out in the mid-2000s. I bought this one in 2012 at a BotCon convention. And they've done this toy several times since then. They try to get it even better. The goal of the Masterpiece line was to make toys that looked increasingly more authentic, like they appeared in the cartoon or things like that. So this is the first attempt at a authentic.
Who made it?
Takara, the company that partners with Hasbro in Japan.
Okay.
And Takara was bought by Tomy, so it's called Takara Tomy nowadays. Okay. But anyway,
it's not a
too much information here, I guess. So I'm not going to transform this one just because he is very complicated. But just to show you what I mean, he's just a bigger version. Still transforms into a handgun, but for safety reasons, because of the laws, in order to bring this toy in the United States, I had to import it through eBay.
Yeah.
They had to, put an orange thing in what would be the gun barrel.
That only makes sense.
To make that. So the only other time that they've made Megatron into a toy that turned into a gun was also in the early 2000s, and it was this toy right here. All right.
What is that? That looks ridiculous.
So he's got some garish coloring, some purple, and some like this green stuff on it.
Looks like Scooby-Doo meets Transformers.
When Noel gets ready to transform the original one, I'll transform this one so you can see what I'm talking about. But he does turn into a gun, but as you'll see here in a minute, it's basically a Nerf gun. It doesn't shoot Nerf darts, but it has all the stylings of a Nerf gun.
He looks like Buzz Lightyear. That's what he reminds me of. Yeah. Turn him around. Look at those colors. Yeah. To infinity and beyond, Megatron.
Green and purples and these orange. But notice he still has orange parts on like his sight and what's going to be the barrel of the gun.
I'd rather be safe than sorry.
To make it so that he is still compliant with those rules.
Yeah.
There was in the original Generation 1, there were only two Megatron toys produced. And one that was kind of, if you know the history of it, we alluded to this in our last episode. In Transformers the movie in 87 actually, Megatron gets formatted by a being called Galvatron, Unicron, into a new guy called Galvatron. It was still Megatron.
So Unicron turned Megatron into Galvatron.
Exactly. A lot of Trons.
So easy to remember. Yeah. Well, we know what Tron does.
So they did have a Galvatron toy.
Yes.
All right. So there was Megatron, the original. Then there was a Galvatron toy. And then in the Action Masters line, which I've mentioned at least twice now, these were Transformers that didn't transform. They were action figure versions. Yeah. All their accoutrements, like vehicles and stuff like that, transformed.
Whoa.
Oh, Megatron has fallen. Starscream somewhere is going, follow me! But in that Action Master version, since Megatron didn't transform, he had a vehicle that did transform that was a tank.
Wait a second. He had a vehicle?
Yeah.
So he was jealous of Optimus Prime.
Yes.
Basically.
And Optimus Prime had a vehicle that was basically a truck again.
Right.
Keeping with it. So Optimus Prime drove another truck that transformed into like a base. Megatron's tank could transform into a base and into like a flying jet thing, whatever. But
what?
The point telling
transformations?
So, but the point in telling you that is that established Megatron, because of the gun laws again, that established Megatron basically turning into a tank for the most part.
Okay.
So most versions of Megatron that you get post 1990, with a couple of exceptions here and there, are going to transform into a tank. All right. So this was the one time in the early 2000s where they went ahead and tried that gun mode again, and to get around it, they made him basically into like a Nerf-looking type gun.
Does he shoot soft missiles?
He doesn't shoot anything. He makes a clicky sound when he pulls the trigger. Now, these original Japanese versions, they did actually shoot little plastic bullets. You can put a little bullet in there and it'd actually shoot it out. But because of the aforementioned missile, launching missile laws, the American version had that disabled. Okay. But this being the Japanese version, it does shoot, and we'll show that here in a minute.
Oh, well,
so, one last thing before Noel transforms.
Just so y'all know.
About the same time they reissued this one that Noel's going to transform, they put out this other version here. And I'm just holding it up, and you're probably thinking, well, what's the big deal? All right? It looks almost the same. Yeah. I can't even hold it up. What you may notice is that this one is shiny chrome. This one is just regular, like, gray plastic.
Yeah.
He has the same Energon mace, but it's yellow. And a modification that I did, and I'll explain why in a minute, is I have his fusion cannon mounted on his left arm again. Yes, head cannon. Head cannon again.
I wondered if that was going to come up.
They produced a toy in the mid-'90s for a very short-lived line that was only available at KB Toys called Machine Wars.
I remember that.
Beast Wars was really big at the time.
Yeah.
So they were testing the waters like, can we still sell Transformers that turn into cars and stuff like that again? So KB had this really small line called Machine Wars, and they had a Megatron figure that turned into a jet, oddly enough. One of the few times Megatron turned into a jet. But they also produced another figure that looked exactly the same, just in different coloring, called Megaplex. And the fiction on it, they used to have little cards on the back that told about the guy, was that Megaplex was basically a decoy. He would go out and do stuff, and people were like, oh, it's Megatron. And they would go after him, thus keeping the actual Megatron, I guess, safe from harm. Yeah. Which doesn't really fit too well with Megatron's character. He's supposed to be like his, really powerful warrior, and why would he want someone else fighting his battles for him?
Oh,
but nonetheless,
maybe he's going through a midlife crisis.
So this is supposed to be a Megaplex. So just as a way to kind of make him more, visually distinct, I moved his fusion cannon to his other arm just so you go, oh, look, it's on the left side, so you know it's not really Megatron. That and the colors are different. Head cannon is fun, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. But also to make him different is on the inside of his legs, he's got blue plastic, whereas the original Megatron has red. All right. So this is supposed to be Megaplex. And this one version only came with the sword and the fusion cannon, not all the other pieces to make him into like the rifle.
Okay.
But he still has the little plastic bullets.
Okay.
So that is the original Megatron. So handgun, which we're going to see.
Okay.
We'll talk more about that later. So we'll let Noel go ahead and start beginning to try this. Okay. No, I would recommend, just for simplicity's sake, go ahead and take the fusion cannon off before you try anything else.
All right. Thanks for the tip.
You got to slide it off rather than just pull it off.
I think I just broke it.
I don't think you did. I think it just snapped a little bit. But yeah, if it don't fit, don't force it. Is a rule here. So.
Okay.
So this is gonna be the hardest one you have because you don't have the one to kind of look off of.
Right.
So if you want to kind of watch me a little bit, if that helps you, if you want to cheat that way, you can.
Well, this came back like this, so that's something. Yep. How many versions of Megatron are there? This is spinning.
Again, like Optimus Prime, he is basically one of the figures that pretty much always gets produced whenever they restart a line or they'll do a new cartoon version or something like that. There's almost always a Megatron to go with Optimus Prime, so they're the two eternal foes for each other, right? Done.
All right, I pushed his hand in.
Okay, so Noel, here's what it's gonna look like when you're done.
Okay, this is where I am.
This is Megaplex here. So Megaplex again has the.
Well, I did this. And I'm pretty excited about this.
Sights that go on it.
Okay.
And it.
Okay. I'm getting somewhere. I'm getting somewhere. This is exciting.
So I'll put that here, and as promised, I will transform also the Nerf gun version of Megatron from the Classics universe there.
Okay.
And we'll see if Noel can still continue to do this. Now, I've not transformed this one in a while, so this might be harder for me than I realized.
Okay.
Find out
this looks like this is supposed to go there, but it's not going down. So what did I do wrong?
I think you're fine, actually.
We just got to force it? You told me not to.
Well, don't force it.
Okay. Ooh, okay. Okay. That seems like that was where it was supposed to go.
Okay.
Now, I need to get the trigger, exposed. Okay, this is where I'm having some challenges. This doesn't seem to make any sense at this point. I'm doing this and nothing's working. Oh, for Pete's sake. All right. I need a hint.
You want us to look at this one again? Just kind of glance at it. You want to still try to do this?
Okay. So that, I mean, that comes back, and I see that needs to be that. Oh, okay.
You getting somewhere now?
I am.
Okay.
This needs to go like this.
Good news, everyone.
Good news, everyone. Okay, I think I got it, Dave. Yeah. I think I did. Oh, the feet need to go in. I had a speed out.
I don't know if I can do this one now. I'm starting to feel bad about this version.
Oh, I believe in you. You're going to get it.
I've not transformed this in probably 10, 15 years.
Wow, this is like an exclusive then on our channel.
Dave gets stumped.
Check it out, people.
Okay, good job. So now, do you want to
like
try
James
to
Bond.
Finish putting the other accoutrement on?
Oh, there's more stuff that. Oh, I see that. Okay.
You're gonna put the sides back on.
All right, so this will slide back on. Maybe if I didn't break it. Yep. All right. Oh, well, it's kind of on. Is that right? All right, that looks pretty good. The sword goes on?
No, the sword doesn't go on.
Okay, what's this do?
That's just the handgun for when he's in robot mode.
And it goes on here?
Yeah.
Where?
Oh, no, when he's in robot mode.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, this is not robot mode.
Introduces the act. You know, old Saturday Night Live.
Why do you have a sight on a handgun? That's what I want to know.
Well, because, I'll put this one down. I'll come back to it here. So I'm getting closer on this one here now. Okay. All right, so why don't you hold Megatron real quick. Okay. And all these parts here that form this giant extra gun he has, all right? So like an artillery emplacement, basically. Pop off and go together in different ways to form a silencer.
Okay.
You put that on, probably figure that out.
Silencers would go on the end of your gun.
Yep, on the barrel, right?
Yeah. Oh, like this.
And this, and the part that holds the gun up becomes the stock.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so now it's my sniper rifle.
Right.
Cool.
So now you've got, so now the scope makes more sense, right? Yeah. Because you got basically kind of like
that's our dog shaking over there.
Type gun over there. So see if I can get any closer on this one. I think I'm getting somewhere, but man, I have forgotten. This is why we're essentially doing these videos live. We're
we might get canceled for the gun, Dave. I'm just warning you.
We will see.
It's just a toy, though. I'm just pretending I'm James Bond over here. All of these universes are colliding. What if James Bond and the Transformers came together in one universe?
That would be amazing.
That'd be a massive movie, but it was in the Marvel world.
Oh my gosh. Do you know how many nerds would just explode? Every dream we've ever had has come true at once.
And then suddenly the ship from Battlestar Galactica crash lands on the Earth.
Yes, a god.
And there's 4 universes colliding. All right, so
I'm getting somewhere.
Wow.
So now
Dave's
this is what Noel feels like.
Yes, this is Dave's imitation of me. Pretty much all of the time. But I know you can do it. I believe in you.
Do you?
Yes.
That sometimes someone does here. All right. I may have to give up for the sake of brevity and basically show you and maybe I can figure it out while you're talking about our beer for today.
That's a great idea.
Essentially, with minus a few clicks, this is the Nerf gun mode. I gotta find out. There's a couple things I have to tap.
That's like a Nerf gun that's been fixed with duct tape.
Yeah, there's a few things I haven't figured out how they tab together yet. There's a couple things I have to click together that I haven't quite remembered. But that's basically it. So he's got the sight still and that kind of thing. So very much a Nerf gun. I will play with this more while Noel talks about our beer today. But as I told you about here's the thing that's it. So on the end here, there's a little hole, and you can take these. It's so small, you're not going to be able to see it. There's a little plastic bullet. You can pop it in there one at a time. And when you pull the trigger...
All right, be careful. Please do not shoot my eye out.
No, I didn't. There we go. Nothing?
Why are you shooting it at my chest area?
Well, it's got to hit something. But you're supposed to put the bullet in. It's supposed to kind of snap in place.
Lame.
There you go.
Oh, well, the bullet, it's gone now. We've lost it. Ronan's probably going to eat it.
Yeah.
So sorry, since you shot me with that.
Yeah, well, you got it coming. But
so we are totally getting canceled for this episode. I'm telling you that right now.
So as I said, if I had an actual Walther P38, it would maybe be only this much bigger on either side of it. This is essentially, identical to the actual gun that it transformed into. So again, a little kid running around with this nowadays,
Yeah. So these stay in our basement.
Is gonna be in trouble with this because it,
these are not to be played with outside.
You'd have to really know what you're looking at to look for. Oh, look, there's a Decepticon logo. Maybe it's a toy.
Our children have never been able to play with them.
Really clever bad guys. I'm giving you free advice here, I guess. Would just make the railguns all.
Why are you saying this? You seriously want us to get canceled?
No, but I mean,
I don't even know what's wrong with that.
I'm really absolutely surprised no one has really thought of that and making more laws be necessary.
We are going to be on the news.
Because bad guys be bad.
The police are going to come to our house.
All right.
Oh, God.
So, Megatron, Generation 1. And I think this was upside down, actually. Let's see.
Well, that would track. Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. I would be the worst spy.
When I was a kid in 1984, when this came out, this was the toy.
Oh,
I mean, Optimus Prime as a truck was pretty cool. The Transformers General as a concept were pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember when they came out.
There would be times when I was a kid and we were going somewhere and I'm like, I want to bring some toys with me. My parents would be like, oh, you can only bring 3 because it's, it's a long trip and you can't bring everything on. So I'd be like, I'll bring 3 Transformers, which means I really have 6 toys. You got
it off at all the angles figured out.
You had something like this that this looks amazing, even though it didn't really shoot plastic bullets like, the Japanese version did. This was amazing. This is an amazing.
That's a really cool toy. The toys were great when we were kids. Yeah. They really were. I mean, I'm not slamming today's toys, but man, oh man.
But the Galvatron toy turned into like more of a space laser type thing, So it's cool. It made electronic sound. Yeah. We'll do Galvatron eventually at some point, I'm sure. But this was the original Megatron, just really, really awesome, cool, amazing toy that can't be made today.
Yeah.
But the other Megatrons that have come out since then, I don't turn to again, don't get me wrong, not all. There are some exceptions. Every once in a while they make a dud. But even the ones that turn into tanks, for the most part, have been pretty cool.
Would you say Megatron is your favorite Transformers character?
No.
Huh, the way that you were fanboying all over him, I thought you were going to say
this one here has so much nostalgia, the fact that it was a gun. You're running around playing cowboys and Indians, stuff like that we could do back then.
Is he your favorite Decepticon?
He's probably my number 2.
Okay.
The Overlord from episode 1 is my favorite Decepticon. That's just a really cool toy too. So Noel, tell us about our beer. This is BeerFormers after all. What's our beer for today?
Oh, do I get to have my beer now? Do we get to celebrate?
You get to celebrate. You did transform it.
I did. So that's actually the best I think I've done on any of them.
And I'm going to keep working on this one while you tell us about the beer.
Even though I almost broke that off. So.
But you didn't. So good for you.
So let me grab some glasses here. We'll do our.
Where's our beer today from, Noel?
Oh, our beer today is from our favorite local brewery.
Which is?
I'm going to pull the beers out. Okay. I want to show the 4-pack we got yesterday. This is from our favorite local brewery. It's called Old Bakery Beer. It's in Alton, Illinois. Old Bakery Brewery was founded in 2015 by Lauren Patton and James Rogalski. And they brew all their beer on site, and they have an amazing space. They built the brewery in a shuttered colonial bread bakery in downtown Alton. They try to keep a lot of the history alive. They have a lot of artifacts on display. The theming is very bread related. It's a lot of fun. But there's a lot of things that I love about this place. Number 1 is the beer. The beer is terrific. They are a sustainable craft brewery that's certified organic. All I know is that I haven't had a beer there that I thought was not wonderful. They're always trying new things, yet still always have some of their flagships on tap. If you don't go to the brewery itself, which I think you should, you can also get some of their products in cans over in Missouri and Illinois. I believe they're even selling some Old Bakery beer over at Busch Stadium during the Cardinal game, so that's pretty cool. But I would say of the beers that they make, probably my favorites are their porter. I think it's just a classic, perfect porter. Their citrus wheat, which is kind of one of their stars from the beginning. They do a lot of different IPAs, and my favorite one is, they call it the Original Goat, the OG Pixel, and it's all mosaic hops, and I just love the tropical bite. And then one of their seasonal beers that they bring out every once in a while is Corey Dune, which is a Scotch ale, which we all know that I love. They also have a beer engine in their tap room, so every once in a while. Well, what that means is that you can get the beer with this little extra nitro kick, and it gives it a nice smooth mouthfeel.
Okay, I asked the question tongue in cheek. They say it's got some sort of sparker or something like that too. I don't know if that does that whip it up, or does that actually put some sparks into it somehow?
I'm going to have to learn, but it's all very fun. Dave, do you have a favorite?
They've got a blueberry beer that I get almost every time.
Actually, we got the vanilla porter instead. But yeah, he loves the blueberry. And the other things I'll say about him is that they've got a great seasonal menu, so we love to eat there. Always have different sandwiches. Every Thursday they do a different specialty pizza. They have vegan options, vegetarian options.
Burger of the week.
Oh, yeah. Tell them about the burger that you got yesterday when we were there.
We went there yesterday, and they had a burger that had a regular burger with bacon.
Yeah.
And on top of that was basically macaroni and cheese that had been breaded and fried lightly to make it to a patty on top of that, too. So instead of a slice of cheese, they had macaroni and cheese on it. That was really good.
We love their food. They also have non-alcoholic beverages. They have something called herbarium that they make that's a sparkling herbal tea. They have all kinds of cocktails and slushies. And then they also have a wonderful whiskey selection. In fact, the only time we've ever tried...
They don't make their own whiskey, though.
No, but the selection behind the bar is their top notch, and it's the only time we've ever been able to try Pappy Van Winkle in our lives was there at Old Bakery. Yeah. So, as you can tell, we're huge fans. I love it because it's in our hometown. We try to go there whenever we can. If you can try it at a store, I say give it a shot. But if you can make it down to their tap room, it's just a fun place to go.
You can mix mixed 4-packs like you see here, of different kinds and stuff that's in cans.
And so I'm going to kind of show you some of these. Another thing that they do, they're very community-oriented. They're very much about shopping local. There are occasionally local businesses that they allow to sell their products in there. They have marketplaces around the holidays where local artisans will come in and sell the things that they're making.
Certain Thursdays they have a drink for a cause, where portion of the profits will go to some local business or charity that needs a little bit of extra help.
Here's an example. I will take a picture of this so you can see it really well. But this is called Buddy Beer, and they raise money for a local animal cause. It was just their Golden Oat Lager, which is kind of just like your Budweiser, but even more delicious. But it was just so cute with all these little dogs on it. So yesterday when we came home, we always come home. Sometimes we come home with growlers. You can get their growlers. These are 2 varieties. They've got all kinds of merch there, and they're always selling different kinds of growlers.
They just started the Growler Club, which we have not joined yet, but we probably will at some point. So you can look up what that whole deal is about on their website, I'm sure.
But this just kind of gives you a idea of the variety of their beer. So we brought home a vanilla porter, and this is a very smoky porter. I really liked it. It wasn't as sweet as other vanilla porters. This one's interesting. This is their 8th anniversary beer. They do every year on the anniversary, they put out a special beer. This one, I'm just going to read it to you because it's a flavor explosion. Bourbon barrel aged imperial stout with chocolate and cherries. It tasted kind of like a German chocolate cake with cherries on it to me. I really liked it. They have this beer, you can't see it very well, but it's called Spooky Scary. They've done 2 of them now Halloween that I know of. They do it around the holidays, or I'm sorry, in the fall. There's not much left. When we were there yesterday, they just had a few cans of it left. But the ones we've tried, the previous year kind of had kind of tasted like candy corn, and this one has more of a peanut butter cup.
Yeah.
And then the beer we're going to try today, because I haven't had it, this is brand new. They just did an Irish red ale. So
St. Patrick's Day. At the time of this filming, St. Patrick's Day is a couple weeks away.
Irish ale. So we're going to give that one a shot today. So here we go. Let's toast. Anyway, if you have a chance to check out Old Bakery Brewing, it's fabulous. We love it. And Dave, were you successful?
I did, finally.
This is what
I just had to seal a couple things up here, but as I said, this is the early 2000s from what they call the classics line. Megatron that turned into basically what looks like a Nerf gun, as I said. So again, the orange barrel on there, even though this is all garish colored, orange barrel is part of the law, and even they put orange on the site there. So that was that. All right, so here we go. So what is this one called again? This is the Irish Red Ale. So it'd be like a Killian's version.
Yeah, it's just an Irish style red ale. Yeah. So this is as far as their beers go, this is one of the less complex ones, but Old Bakery also do a lot of collaborations with other breweries, and I think they've got a new one coming out on February 22nd called Robert's Rye, and it's named after Robert Wadlow. So look
the tallest person ever. He lived in Alton.
So here we go. Cheers.
Cheers. Good job transforming Megatron.
Good job transforming Nerf gun Megatron.
Yeah.
Smells great.
It's got a roasted quality.
Oh yeah, it's very roasty. Yeah. No, that's nice.
Otherwise, yeah, it's very. Like you said, it's a red ale. I mean, it's got all the qualities of red ale, but I think the roastiness is something that's new. It starts sweet, but it finishes roasty, and I like that. That's going to be really good when we go upstairs and eat some chili. There's some hops there, too,
Yeah.
Like all beers have, I guess, for the most part, but it's not hoppy like an IPA.
No.
Just very smooth and drinkable.
No, that's great. Yeah, this could get you in trouble on St. Patrick's Day.
This would be great with corned beef and cabbage.
Yes.
Things like that.
Well, anyway, so that's the beer for today. Another successful beer. So,
and as Noel said, I mean, yeah, we're local. We can go to this place a lot, but it's not just we go there because it's local. We go there because we really enjoy the atmosphere. We enjoy the food.
Old Bakery.
Everything about it is great. So there are lots of other good local breweries as well, but this one is one of the top notch ones, obviously.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks for coming on this little trip with us again, a trip down memory lane for Dave.
Yeah, Megatron. And as we always say, when it comes to all this kind of stuff, make sure that when you got old toys like this, that you're playing responsibly. And don't snap off, barrels and things like that as we're playing with it.
And make sure you drink responsibly.
And if you want any more information, as we always say, there's a couple good places that I recommend. The first one is the Transformers Wiki, tfwiki.net. And I'm not sure if he's done one specifically on this version. He probably has. But Chris McFeely on YouTube has a series of videos called The Basics On. So you can do basics on Megatron and see what comes up. Those are really good quality videos. He does lots of research into them. Way more research than I'm doing on these. We're just trying to show you a toy and talk about what it was and what it looks like. So my history is very light compared to some of these other places, but really good places for information.
I just like to drink beer. So, anyway, and if you like what you see, you know what to do.
Hit all the buttons.
Hit all the buttons and put it down in the comments if there's a beer or a spirit that you'd like us to feature on the show and give it a try.
Or if there's a Transformer that you know of you'd like us to talk about, we'd be happy to hear from you as well. So with that said, thanks for watching. Thanks for another episode of BeerFormers.
More than meets the rye.